We'll start off with executive producer Jason Rothenberg. She plays Clark. Eliza Tyler, please. He plays Bellamy. Bob Morley. She plays Octavia. Please welcome Marie Avgeropoulos. Can't call him Chancellor anymore, but he's still Jaha. Please welcome Isaiah Washington. If you need a mechanic, you know to call Raven. Please welcome Lindsay Morgan. And last but not least, please welcome the man who plays Lincoln, Ricky Whittle. So, a lot to talk about here, guys. I'm going to ask questions for a little bit, throw in some social questions, then we're going to get to you guys, so have your questions ready. Let's start off, though, Jason, season 10, I'm getting ahead of myself. Season 2... Spoiler alert. Obviously ended. A lot happened. Mount Weathered was taken out. Something is going on with Jaha right now. What can you say going into season 3? How will it begin? What will sort of the overall arc of season 3 be in a broad nutshell?
Okay, well, to start with a spoiler, we are going to have our first time jump between seasons. And we're going to pick things up a little time after, a couple months after Clark bailed on people. And the season itself is going to be, I think, as different from season 2 as season 1 was from season 2. So we change it up every year. Obviously, the Allie story, the AI story really sets us in a new, much more, I think, science fiction direction, which I'm excited about. We started the show as a sci-fi, real hardcore sci-fi show. We were in space. Obviously, we lost that. I really missed that. And so this lets us get back to some really intense, hardcore sci-fi, which I'm psyched for.
Liza, Clark, she had to do a lot at the end of season 2.
Yeah.
And, she basically said she couldn't be there at the end. She had to take off after everything that happened.
She's finding herself.
She's finding herself. What do you think her frame of mind is, though, at this point? I mean, is she damaged, or is it just the weight of it?
She's gone batshit crazy. What she did at the end of the season was so huge and traumatic, and I think that she's running away, which is very un-Clark-like.
Mm-hmm. What we did.
Yeah.
We did.
When we pick things up, I think she's going to be losing it a little.
Bob, for you, looking back at season 1, originally, Bellamy was sort of there was a co-leader thing happening in season 1. In season 2, obviously, once the other characters came down from the Ark, for a while your character was a prisoner, then he was off helping people in Mount Weather. What do you think his role might be now, coming back in with the larger group? And might he take another leadership role?
Clark left him there to kind of do that, so I assume that he'll just do what Clark couldn't do and become a leader.
Hey, hang on.
Some new leadership might be ahead. Marie, obviously Octavia this past season was really kind of on the road to becoming a grounder in a lot of ways.
Finally.
Until they freaking left her there in that tunnel. And, she still has Lincoln, clearly, but...
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
After that
My
sort
girl.
of loss, how do you think she is feeling she can fit in with the group? Can she fit in with the group, kind of going back to them at this point?
I mean, I feel like Octavia hasn't really fit in anywhere growing up under the floor. Does that make you the cool
She was small. She fitted in there.
ever? But, through Lincoln, she really found her place, within the world with the Grounders. And they really... brought out the warrior in her. So I think she'd have a hard time going back to the Arkers and, be a little resentful towards those kind of people.
And Isaiah, Jaha was really going on this journey of faith. He was, leading some people along, saying, there's something that we're going towards. How do you think he's reacting now that he's got there? It's a very nice house. but it might not be exactly what he was expecting.
Yeah, I'm just curious to see what kind of memes the fans are going to come up with now, because they had me in the Moses outfit. You know you did it. You know you guys did it. You know you did it to Jaha. He lost his mind. But I think
Camp
the
Jaha
good thing,
in the house there. You see that player?
Good job.
That's what?
Camp Jaha.
You know what? I'm sorry. I'm gonna hold that question. You know what? I went out there late last night to see you guys. I know there's a one named Mimsy from Lansing, Michigan. I don't know if you're in here, but you know what? I got to do this. Thank you all. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
For spending the night and staying out there all night.
For our guys.
You guys appreciate us, but we're gonna give you a standing ovation. Thank you so much.
You guys rock!
Yeah! Hey! Who's hungry? I'm hungry. I'm sorry.
What was the question?
Just me.
The question, he was wondering what it was like to go from being Moses in season 1 to Jesus in season 2. And what do you do after that?
Oh, I thought I was Moses in season 2. So Jesus in season 1?
12 disciples, 12
disciples?
people, you know.
Well, I think, like I learned, Jaha is in a very fancy house with a very beautiful, not real woman. So I don't know how we're gonna have fun with that, but I think.
Wow, so maybe you'll really
did I just say that? Did I just say that? Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have fun with that. But he does have access to a nuclear warhead, so things should be interesting for Jaha.
Special.
Lindsay, Raven, she obviously had a lot in the first half of the season, especially, is dealing with this physical issue. Do you think she's come to terms with that, or is that something still lingering for her, sort of a bitterness over not being everything she felt she should be?
Yeah, I think she's still a little bitter, Eric. I think it's something about Raven that's so integral to the character for her to lose a certain strength to her, but to find an even greater strength into learning how to live and operate no matter what. And I think it shows her inner strength, and I love that I get the opportunity to portray someone with a disability on TV. I think it's really important, and I love that our show does that.
And
she kicks ass.
Kicking ass and taking names.
Still kicking ass.
Ricky, it's funny when I say that this was a tough year for Lincoln, it's not like it was an easy year for the other characters on the show. But...
It was so different to the first year, which was a breeze.
Yeah. He might go through a lot here. He might have some physical duress. But yeah, he went through a lot in season 2. Obviously, he did get some comeuppance at the end. He got some revenge at the very end of the season. But has this permanently altered him, you think, the experience, even if he's not still maybe reapering out?
I mean, I think we're all molded by our experiences. Of course it's going to affect Lincoln, but I think the good thing about Lincoln is his moral compass has never changed. It's never wavered, and in the face of adversity, pain, loss, he's always tried to fight for what he believes was right. And he'll continue to make immense sacrifices for that belief and for Octavia. So I don't think anything's going to change. His life's a war. His body's a roadmap of pain and torture. He's used to it. Ooh. Bring on season 3. Game on.
Oh, Ricky, fancy. You going to get back on drugs or what?
What's up, bro?
Probably not.
Lincoln.
Are you juicing?
Probably not.
Are you juicing? Do you even lift, bro?
Hey, those are used steroids?
Dude,
no way. Stop it.
Jason, it's not like the show, episode 3, I think, of the show had, a little girl murdering someone, and then she died the next episode. So it's not like the show was, light and fluffy. There was always darkness there, but season 2 went dark. Was this something sort of a real thing you wanted to do, or was it just where the story took you as you were, going into this idea and the themes you were exploring?
Both. We started the season, I knew that I was going to try to push them over the line. Mm-hmm. It was about how far would they go to save their people. At what point does the good guy become the bad guy was the sort of theme of the season. And, so we had that as a direction. The entire season we were building towards that moment when she had to kill all those people. It was very important to me, as sick as it sounds, that there were kids there, that there were people that had helped them in that room to make the choice as hard as possible. And so, that didn't seem to be a kind of idea that lent itself to musical numbers or, any real happiness. So, but those few and far between smiles, I think, it's funny, when we see them smile, it's like, oh my God, they can actually smile. We'll get some of that after the time jump, perhaps, but you could bet it won't last that long.
So mixing in a little social questions here. Got one on Twitter from someone who identifies himself as Raven Reyes. I'm guessing that's not an amazing coincidence and not her actual name, but she asks, for Eliza and Bob, how do Clark and Bellamy differ in dealing with the guilt and the consequences of their decisions? We were kind of talking about this a little bit before, but how do you think they're both processing this in different ways?
I think Clark's, like I said before, she's completely abandoned her people, so she's not dealing with it particularly well. I don't know about Bellamy. He's probably come out on top.
Yeah, I guess that he's going to have to, he's been forced to step into that position to look after the 44 on his own. So, he just has to get on with it. It sucks, but he just has to do it.
They keep having new horrible things to avoid, so he can't do better, right? Marie, we talked a little bit about this, but the transformation of Octavia has been pretty remarkable since the show began. For you, what's it like taking the character from the "we're back bitches" version of Octavia to where she is now?
Oh my goodness, it feels like two different people, which is a lot of fun as an actress. To pull the wool over everybody's eyes, and it was pretty cool to meet people today in Germany, and they haven't even seen season 2 yet, and I can't wait to do the whole "I told you so," thing, because it's easy to judge her at first, but then she becomes like this kick-ass warrior woman, which is so much fun to play.
Mm-hmm. And Isaiah Jaha, he was in charge. He was the guy calling all the shots. Came down to earth, things had changed. How do you think he's dealt with that? Is there a part of him bitter about this, or has he sort of moved on from that?
I think a bit of all of it. You can't be in that position and sacrifice so much. What I do find interesting is that whatever he was trying to protect the Archers from, and what he thought he was trying to protect even the children from, once he realized what was going on, he ended up losing everything that he was trying to hold on to. And the irony of it all is that even during the culling, ironically, he's not the only one that has bloods on their hands. From the very beginning, we're all, we've all have done some things that even with Finn, and just even the character Lexa, all these different things, everyone has blood on their hands thinking they're doing something for the greater good, and it just turns out to be pretty complicated. Mm-hmm. And it's going to continue that way into third season for Jaha for sure.
Question we got from Maria, and this is, I'll ask Lindsay, we'll see how much you might know yet, because these guys are about to start filming. They haven't yet. But she writes, Raven is such an inspiration, and she's been through so much. What can we expect from her story in season 3?
Well, I don't know how much I can say, but thank you. So they can hear me. They can hear me in the back. Raven's coming out on top, guys. I think season 3 is going to be awesome for her because you get to see the ramifications of season 1 and season 2 for Raven. Not only her physical endurance and storyline, but also at the end of season 2, she was in a really precarious situation physically again. She was already, as much as she doesn't want to admit it, delicate. And after, being in a bomb explosion and what happened in Mount Weather, she's worse off. And it's even harder to face. And, emotionally, she's really living her life without Finn and really feeling that grief. And there's someone new in her life as far as, Wick coming in. And even that's a whole new obstacle for her. So she's really, you're going to see a new Raven because she's changed by everything she went through. And, she's trying to rebuild herself piece by piece.
No pun intended.
We're going to go to audience questions in a minute, so if you want to start lining up, I know there are mics out there in the darkness, well, darkness for us. But Ricky, how do you think Lincoln is getting along amongst the others? He began as someone completely mistrusted. Now he's fought by their side. He kind of stuck with them at the end of last season. Do you think there's trust there, or is there still suspicion?
There's trust what? What? Yo, hit me one more time, bro. No, what was the question? Trust issues. I believe there was trust issues, right? Lincoln's obviously, he's always been one for peace and one for simulation. He doesn't want this war, and he's always, as I said, fought for the greater good. And that's something he's going to continue this season. But as we know, he's living amongst the people, the Archers. The Archers only know grounders as those who have killed members of their own family and friends. So how would they feel about one of those people being in their own grounds, living amongst them? And how are they going to react to him, and how is he going to react to that? It's going to be very interesting to see those dynamics progress.
Mm-hmm. So, do we have our first audience question?
I don't even know if that was the question.
But we know you're out there.
No, you didn't.
They all heard you, though.
Yeah.
Everyone heard you.
Oh,
sweet.
And they're tweeting.
Elaborate on things.
Hi, guys.
Oh, here.
Hello.
Perfect.
How are you?
Right in the middle there.
Good, thanks. Hello.
I got my hat on.
Ooh, look at that.
Wow.
Now we see you.
I'm Mikey, and I just wanted to start out by saying I'm a huge fan of the show, of all of you guys, and everything that you do. And I just want to say thanks for giving the fans something to love. And thank you for filming in Vancouver. Yeah.
Do you work yet?
Yeah, but oh, I'm stoked you remembered. My question is, how do you all handle the complexity of the show? Just because it's got so many twists and turns, and I don't think anyone expected the show to be where it is now, season 1, episode 1.
I skip their pages in the script and just go right to my parts.
She's not lying, actually. No, I mean, I think that it's a good answer because I don't know what everybody's process is in detail, but they focus on their character's journey. And, I know Isaiah, for instance, and I talk a lot. He doesn't ever want to know what's going to happen, because I suppose that it would influence the choices that he makes in the moment, and that's what they're all trying to live in. I have to carry all 12 or all, 100 of them around in my head, so I'm the real crazy one.
Next question from Khaleesi, I believe.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Sophie Hansen. Well, first of all, I just wanted to thank the whole cast, but Lindsay in particular, for what I thought was a very accurate portrayal of someone with a disability. As someone who has kind of a bum leg myself, it was really cool to see, so thanks for showing us we can still be, powerful and strong with a disability.
Rock stars. You're the hottest Khaleesi ever.
Thank you. My question for the whole cast is, do you believe it is still possible for your characters to be good people in the classical sense as they try to survive?
Whoa.
Ooh. The entire show's theme.
No one wants to go first.
Maybe there are no good guys. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Yes, I think they're all deep down pretty damn good.
I think they're decent people. They're just being put in a really terrible situation.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're ever going to be normal, nice people in the classical sense ever again. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that the good thing about our show is there are no good or bad people. There's only perspective. And it depends on which side of the fence you fall. If you yourself find yourself in a jungle fighting for your life, it's your life, and you're trying to protect your loved one over people that you don't know, how far would you go? This is your life. This is your loved one's life. We like to think we'd all do the right thing. We'd all do the good thing. We'd walk away. We wouldn't do this. We wouldn't do that. But push comes to shove. If you're in that situation, I think we probably all find ourselves, protecting the ones we love. And that's all anyone's kind of doing on this show, is taking it from their own perspective and fighting for the ones they love and the morals they're pushing forward.
I personally love the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Buddy, right.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. I'm here all week.
But something I always imagine for the viewers is every decision all our characters make and what the show goes through is, as I try to step out of it and as a viewer, what would I do? Like, as Lindsay, what would I do? And I think
she party! No.
Yeah. And I think that's something that Jason really has created with this show, and he wants to create a society in the future where, if we had to redo society, what would you do? Would you do it differently? What decisions would you make? How would it change you? And it makes you think, and I think that's a big draw to the show, and I think it's really important. We start thinking about it.
That's a great answer. I mean, that's what we do every day in the writers' room, is we sort of try to paint them into situations where, like, there is no good choice. On one side, you kill 480 innocent people. On the other side, if you don't do that, the 44 people that you love are going to be turned into bone marrow, donors and killed.
Yeah.
So there is no easy answer in the show ever. That's sort of the way we try to, really mess with them. And it will affect them going forward. And that's going to be the sort of formula till we're done.
Next question from young Harvey Dent.
Well, actually, a lot of people think that I'm Harvey Dent, but actually, I'm a fancy grounder.
Oh.
But instead of all that wool makeup around my face, just straight down the half.
I just got fooled.
I love it.
Killing the game, bro.
Fancy grounder.
Nailed it.
Hey, he sounds like he's getting ready for the third season, bro. Like he can work with Allie.
Fancy grounder in season 3.
Yeah, and what I was wondering was, in the last 2 seasons, you guys have made a lot of truly philosophical, hard decisions. And have those being in them affected your compass in the way that you even look at life?
Jason?
Really?
Give this kid a job. Wow.
Grilling you.
You've made me question my
That is the
philosophy.
best question I've ever gotten. No, it hasn't changed the way I view life, really. I have to all the time sort of like ask myself what I think and what I believe as we go in to tell these really dark stories. And, the writing staff on the show is obviously all incredibly talented. And, if I make a bad choice, I get slapped for it by certain people on our staff. But yeah, I think that I don't know if you're asking for each of them as people, as human beings, if it's changed them, or if it's changed their characters.
I think it's
What are you asking?
Us as people, yeah?
Characters or people?
I think
People.
Oh, so it's
It
individual.
could be either or.
Well, it's definitely changed their characters.
Them as, like, people themselves.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of them, from the very beginning, for myself, I always looked at the show as an opportunity to show the flaws that we have. When you look at us chemically composed, the carbons and many things that we're composed of just to create a human being, we don't really amount to much when you look at gold and silver and other chemicals. So my thing with Jaha is always trying to find out what is the greater good instead of ourselves. Who is that? What is that? Is there a universe, a God? Not really putting our finger on that, but trying to figure out the moral compass of what do you have to do. Again, and that's what Jason is so good at, is blurring those lines, is that what is moral, what is amoral, what is immoral. That is a proverbial question that I think all of our characters are going to continue to struggle with. And in terms of the individual, I always looked at this show as that, the last time we were here, we've had some pretty inhumane things happen in the United States that we all have to wrestle with, that we just couldn't believe that another human being could do something to these other human beings. But again, with the inhumanity that we are addressing today, we can probably shine a light on how we can be more humane today.
You throw in a social question here. I'll get back to you in a second, I promise. I'm going to put you on the spot here, Jason, because it's a pretty specific plot one, but let's see what you say. Bianca asks, is there a possibility that Clark will meet up with Murphy and Jaha while she's away?
Oh, I would love that. That would be cool.
Yeah, there's always a possibility. We love to cross people with each other that don't necessarily always seem to go together. But I can't talk about that. That's way down the line. Jaha's on an island somewhere in the, Atlantic Ocean. Clark is on walkabout, trying to figure out who she is. back home in Australia.
Wow.
So we'll see, is the answer to that.
Next question, please.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Michaela Renshaw, and my question is mostly for Jason, but a little bit for Eliza. After the heartbreaking finale of season 2, is there any hope of reconciliation between Clark and Lexa, or is the relationship completely shattered?
Oh, that's...
Take that one first?
You can, yeah.
Well, first of all, is there hope for reconciliation? I suppose there's hope for reconciliation because Alicia Debnam Carey's coming back to the show. Yeah. So that's a possibility, of course. But I think when they come together for the first time, there'll be fireworks in a way that we haven't seen before because Clark is pissed.
I'm really pissed. I mean, she really messed it up. She had a really good thing going. I mean, it's Clark, guys. But yeah, I think that's going to be really interesting to see how they butt heads or not.
Anything more you could say about when we might see her, how much we might see her?
No. I mean, she'll be... AMC was awesome in terms of, the negotiation, and we have, a ton of story to tell. We're going to really dive deeply into the Grounder world and the clans and the mysticism and spirituality of the Grounder world and how commanders are created. It's going to be crazy. That's one of the things that I like the most in terms of world building. So that character lets us do that in a big way. So, yeah.
I like to see her have a time jump and go back and forth from Fear of the Walking Dead. If she get to play Lexa and the same character.
Shared universe.
Get to go back and forth.
Next question.